I suck at jiu-jitsu? How do I suck less at jiu-jitsu?
I guess to suck less.
You go into the movies, especially you watch more than anybody else. Like, you guys are there.
It's the oldies. You want to know what got me watching the oldies though? It was like being in the county in the bullpen, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. People are staying up gambling on the little Monopoly stuff for honey buns, whatever, and stuff like that. But like, you stay up. That's the only thing that's on is that and old westerns. You'd have this one dude 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. No matter what, he's like this. I don't care what you guys watch. At 4, I want to watch my westerns. And so he'd watch his old westerns. And so it just got me to like watching older, movies or whatever. And it seems boring, but
here's the thing. At least was it a colored TV? Like, good Lord. Like,
no, them westerns was like, they was old. It was black and white. It was colored TV, but the westerns were still old.
What westerns?
I ain't really glanced them like that. We just put it on for him. That dude had 20 years. I'm going home at the weekend.
I need to stay up to date, brother.
Hey, look, like I'm cool. Look, whatever is gonna make you feel comfortable, because you got 20 and that's the minimal.
Ooh,
straight.
Yeah, I'd be watching westerns too, I suppose.
And no liquor on top of that.
Besides, I like messing around on the Monopoly. I still do it to the day, dude. We bought a Monopoly table and had Anna and Prince come over and they're like, yeah, let's play it, dude. Sean is like, Erik, what are you doing? Dude, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Dude, she's like this. You're sitting here taking advantage of these kids. It was like 3 kids in the Bay, all of them. Dude, I'm sitting here with all the money, all the properties. Dude, and it was the cheat version. I'm like, dude, you have no idea, dude. I went back in mode. It's the bullpen.
Yeah, my money's working for me. You guys have been saving in Monopoly. How ridiculous.
Yeah, we're in the Thunderdome, dude. I'm buying that property. What are you talking about? You land on mine, you owe me real estate.
I own Ocean Avenue. Get out of here. What are you doing? I have a hotel here, brother. Yeah, I get it.
This boardwalk, pay me.
It's such a time commitment to play a game of Monopoly, though.
Well, and that's why, too, because it makes the time go by. So you could keep going until you run out of money. Then people would be sitting there handing their money to other people. So before you know it, you have these last two, and they've been on there for like 5 hours.
Oof.
It's morning time.
Pretty much look, till you're the last
midnight,
one with money.
Midnight, they're playing. All of a sudden, we play until we hear that, and they open up the chuck hole, and they give you that cereal dry with the milk added. Here you go, and you're like this. Oh, that's how you know it's 5 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, they're waking you up early. I think that's what got me early rising was that, because like this, they're waking you up, and then you got some guys working out, and then it got me into a workout routine, and then it's like, but.
On that note, you never did. So, like, how long did Robert train martial arts where you just worked out, you never did any jiu-jitsu, you never did anything until that, I think it was like 2019 when you... Was it 2019 when you started training?
Dude, late 2019, because I only trained like a couple months, and then COVID hit.
Mm-hmm. It was like November of 2000. Yeah. It was like a Black Friday deal that you signed up for, so it was November.
Yeah, and so, dude, I watched Robert, man. Like, dude, honestly, like if we're just talking about like the boxing and MMA, you know what I mean? Even that, but then like even with the jiu-jitsu, like when he did like straight, like 8 years, dude. Like I was like, and the dude, like I just didn't. I'd even go to some of his practices. Like I even watched some of his matches. And I don't know. I thought it was gay, and I was like, I just didn't care to like do it, and like, cause like you
still is
like, and like to even think that like that's what I want to do as a business is even crazier. Cause back then I'm like this. Not only is this gay, but you're not making money.
Yeah, you're not.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, dude, like, it was just crazy to me. And I'm like, and you still didn't even get the grasp. Like, okay, I seen them doing it in MMA fights. That's great. But like my thought was, I'm not going to get into it with people. And if I do, it's probably going to be other ways handling it. So I never would be like, I'm going to get into a fight with nobody. And then so I just like, I ain't going to do it. And then at the time I smoked a lot of weed. I'm not going to be working out like that and doing all that. Like I'm more busy. You know what I mean? I think I was cutting hair at the time. I was trying to do barber. I had a barber avenue, and then I had that note and selling a lot of weed and doing all that. I was like, you know what? Like I just ain't going to have time for going on the mat. And then it really wasn't until I moved in with Robert. And then I was like, man, you know what? I did a couple classes. I did the first 2 classes, and I was like this. Dude, it kept me up at night. I'm like, man, I'm going to have to do this. But like, and here's the thing. At first, I was like, what made me first put the seed in my head, like, that I would even entertain a thinking doing it before I even stepped on the mat. I think it was earlier, 2019. We all went to the Fuji tournament, I think, right? Was it the Fuji 2019?
Yeah. So St. Louis Fuji.
Yeah. And Mike
maybe, where's it at? It
was probably St. Charles.
Mike Giller ended up doing it or whatever. And
did he and John Tice have a match at the very end of the day?
Yeah.
That was in Missouri State. That was
I remember that.
That was when they were doing it at not the Plex. They had it was still at the high school or something.
Yeah, so, I ended up watching that, and I was like, man, this is cool. I'm like, this, man. But what got me was not even the jiu-jitsu or like the tournament. It was the fact that, I could be a part of a team and let's put up points and wreck people as a team. And so I was like, and then the fact what blew my mind was how honest people were. I was never used to honest people. I'm like, dude, people are thieving. Dude, I'm sitting here carrying Josh's backpack around the whole event, thinking that I'm like, Josh, I was like this, dude, I didn't want nobody stealing Josh's backpack. And they're looking at me crazy like nobody here steals. I'm like, dude, you guys are high. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm carrying his backpack
I remember.
through all the matches, through Sal's matches, through Mike's matches. Who else?
I remember that
Derek
too.
Holly's matches, all of them, the one with him and Matt Green. I had Josh's backpack on the whole time and never even looked in it because that's the type of guy I was. And he's like, bro, like towards the end, he's like, bro, you're good. There's just waters in it. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, but still didn't even leave it.
Like it felt heavy.
Well, because
You got a 24
you gotta
case
think
of
of where
water
I
in that
just came
sucker.
from. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I just got robbed probably 8 months before that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so like the my mind state was different. And so I'm like, you know, I'm like, it was just the honestly, like it was like, man, this thing is like, it's purified. You know what I mean? So it wasn't so much like, it could have been anything, but like, it was just the community that was built around it. It was what got me into it. You know what I mean? It wasn't just jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because if it was just jiu-jitsu, I probably wouldn't have. I mean, heck, I've seen you grapple plenty of times.
And compete.
And I still never hopped on the mat. It was when I seen the people. And then, like, Josh's dad was so nice. I'm like, dude, like, honestly, these are, like, the nicest people in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, I didn't have people be this nice to me. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, just to be around nice people.
That's cool. Because that's like thinking back, Robert started in 2015, right? 2016, right at the beginning of 2016, right? With me.
Yeah.
And you had been training for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, you had a very good base. I did promote you to blue belt, but it was like after a month of you training with me, it was like, someone should have done this. This guy's been training for a long time. And then Robert paid me under the table. And so I promoted him to blue belt, of course.
I'd have paid you to not promote me here.
Yeah, you don't want to know. You don't want to know what the price was for that black belt.
Yeah. But that is that's kind of, I think, an interesting part for me is getting to see, like, it was years. It's not like you would see us occasionally. You would come into the gym almost every night with Robert and just watch, and then watch me teach and comment on things that I taught about. There was a time that I was teaching single leg X defense where you peel the heel off and you sit over the leg. And Erik goes, man, that's like the I don't have a driver's license. I go, what do you mean? He's like, your buddy's in the car with you. Like, hey, bro, we're getting pulled over. You have a driver's license, right? And you sit all the way over. He scoots under and he gets into the driver's seat.
Dude,
and
that's what it was.
I'm like, this dude's we got to get this guy training. But he never would. He was always like, nah, I don't, this is gay. Like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Start screaming that from the sidelines in a tournament. Without a license.
I'm telling you, I think the person who was actually like this, who got me to be like this, okay, I'm going to give it a serious thought about actually signing up, was Steve. Because Steve was like, no, man, it's for everybody. He's like, I do it. And he was like showing like everybody else do it. Women does something like this. Also, like this is literally for everybody. So I'm like, well, since it's for everybody now, I got to at least give it a chance. You know what I mean? And that's when I gave it a chance. But it was actually your dad. And honestly, though, if it wasn't for your dad, I probably would have never signed up anyway. Because, like I said, I've been to like 4 or 5 gyms. Mm-hmm. I've even watched him compete back in 2008 and stuff like that. And like, so I've been like around these different gyms and stuff like that. And it wasn't going to do it. Like I said, it wasn't the training. At that point, it didn't even have to be the best guys. It could have been the worst guys. But since Steve was the one that was running and doing it, I was like this. Yeah, I want to do it because this guy is the nice guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's the one. And he one time put me through a workout. He's like, hey, man, you go ahead and use the equipment and do whatever. I was like, cool. So, like, he warmed me up. And, dude, that's important because, like, somebody like me, like, if you don't warm me up, I'm going to be like, dude, I don't fuck with you. like, I don't even know, like I don't know, like, it broke me out my shell because honestly, like, even then, like, I was still like, man, I don't fuck with nobody, but it's just, yeah, and now I'm like, dude, like, now I'm the guy giving everybody chances, like, dude, whether it's hiring them for a job or, you know what I mean, just, hey, come train with me or, hey, do this, like, or, hey, you want me to show you something after the rolls? Like, I'll even volunteer because sometimes people will want it and they don't ask it. And so I volunteer and, so now I'm like the one giving people chances. So it's pretty cool.
I feel like you see that a lot, even nowadays more than even back then. Because probably also one of the reasons why you didn't get into it too is you'd see like jiu-jitsu is mainly taught like at these MMA schools. There wasn't as
it wasn't a program.
Yeah, back then there was no like isolated jiu-jitsu schools. It was more like, hey, we got a jiu-jitsu program in our MMA schools. So you'd still have that kind of era with douchey like MMA vibes and stuff like that.
But to be honest, I'm thinking about, I don't even think there's a teacher. I think it was the group of MMA guys that they grappled, but nobody was really teaching anything. So it was more like off the cage, sprawl wrestling, then maybe try to get past somebody's guard to a side control.
MMA jiu-jitsu based on
you
like
ain't see
strikes
no bolo back takes.
Stuff.
You ain't see no sweeps, and you didn't even really see no wrestle ups. You seen people recover from seated, and then like they would try to stand up, but like it wasn't no initiating back to the single to takedown or none of that. Half guard, they wasn't playing really that.
No, I mean I feel like it was a little less refined even then, like because I even noticed like there was a mark where like maybe even like 6, almost 7 years ago, I seen a shift, and like even when you got your blue belt, man, the technique and the output that you see in like the jiu-jitsu content that was at is way more than what I got. Like you as a blue belt, even doing it less time than I grappled, was still, I felt like had a better technique base than even I did.
Well, think about the training partners that you had when you were going from, I mean, obviously we talked about you were white to blue in a month at my gym, but still, even at blue belt, you were one of the best training partners at that point, right? And the training partners he comes up with. But then you think about how we were learning technique still. We were still watching physical DVDs. Then. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, BJJ Fanatics wasn't a whole thing. Now you get BJJ Fanatics on an app.
When
on
me
your
and
phone.
Kyle went to BJJ Fanatics, they had a huge wall of, hey, you can have as many of these DVDs as you want. We have every DVD that we've
obsolete.
It's every Gordon Ryan instructional, every BJJ Fanatics DVD, and they're like, since you're an instructor, grab what you want. And I'm like, Kyle, neither of us brought a carry-on. We're like, we both have a personal item. That's all. It's going to be hard to get this
just
stuff
imagine
home.
you get like,
but I'm like, we're getting this
$1,000
Yeah,
worth of
we're getting
DVDs,
these
bro.
DVDs.
How many did you grab?
Oh man, at least 20.
Really?
And I was
you
grabbing
got
them-
any now?
I gave most of them away. Most of them were
Right.
like I was getting them. I gave you
I know.
a Sean Williams.
Yeah, it was a 6 DVD
Williams
set
guard.
for the Williams guard.
Uh-huh.
Hensel
And it's
Gracie.
like,
it was,
that was like when you look at, not to say that, obviously I taught Robert none of his close guard. He developed that on his own. But I bought him that DVD, brother. Well,
Right.
stole it for him for free.
So
He did the omoplatas because of that.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. That's what I'm saying. And so I'm not saying everything that Robert
I never
will
watched a
ever
DVD,
do.
and I've hit probably 2,000 omoplatas.
I'm not saying, Robert, I'm just saying he owes my stealing of that DVD a lot of credit.
I
to
contribute
anything
all
he'll
of my
do,
game to that.
Yeah, in the rest of his life. No matter what he does, it's built upon the fact that DVD was given to him.
Him being a blue belt, being the best training partner at your gym, just lets you know.
Most jiu-jitsu gear feels like it was designed by someone who's never trained. And it smells like it was designed by someone who's never showered. That's why I use Datsu Sara. My gi, my backpack, my fanny pack, they are all made from hemp. It's ridiculously comfortable, it lasts forever, and it doesn't hold on to the stink of regret from last night's no-gi class. Even better, the gi is weirdly hard to grip. It's kind of like you're grappling while covered in butter. Don't ask me how I know what it feels like to grapple in butter. Instead, go to dsgear.com and use promo code ISUCK for 10% off. And you'll stop wearing gear that feels like a sweaty, stinky duffel bag and start wearing the coolest gear in jiu-jitsu. Check them out at dsgear.com.
Well, I think like as far as like a part of the team, like who was competing like at least on a month-to-month basis, it was just like me and Josh. And then when Erik came over, he was kind of getting into it, but he'd always did like other tournaments and stuff too. And then he obviously did the combat wrestling stuff. But it was like we didn't have like a competition team. It was just like, you had like 2 to 3 solid guys at a time where it was just like, all right, we're competing. And then it's like all the way up until like COVID, we all went out to American Nationals. I feel like that was like that first break where it was like,
This is a team.
we got a team. Yeah, we're like, I'm like, all right,
that's
we
when I
got
fell
1,
apart
2, 3, 4. I'm like, wait, we got over 10 guys.
Yeah.
That just went to Texas during COVID. I'm like, yeah,
That-
we got
and I'll
Your
say-
first turn, or your second
Yeah,
tournament.
and I'll say the AGF too, because like I felt like we as a team, like when I did, I was like, okay, like finally after all these years, I'm actually a part of something, because you had us, you had the Revive guys, we took big team picture. Allen Bros, they got gold, I got gold. It was our first ones, and we all
Yeah,
got gold.
man.
I was like, man, we set a statement at that one, dude.
Looking back on that too, is as much as it sucked that Robert wasn't able to come to that
know, my
tournament,
first
it's
one.
kind of fun that he wasn't, because it wasn't like, oh, well, it's me and Robert. It was like, no, it's me and just the team. I'm the Robert for the day. I'm the Arias
It
Bro
was
for the
cool.
day.
I was there
And
for a
then
little while, and then my daughter's birthday party, I had to duck out.
I remember texting Erik Hebner after, because he also wasn't there, and he's like, the only thing he texted me, no offense, Bryce, but the only thing he texted me, like, I'm like, hey, guy, we won the team trophy, bro. The guys killed it. Was awesome. He goes, how did Erik Arias do? And I go, his guard passing was probably a C. His wrestling was about a B. I said like this, I named off a few other things, and I go, but his ability to eat fully extended arm bars was an A+.
man, dude.
This dude ate some arm bars that you
Like
wouldn't.
3.
But oh my god!
I still don't even know how I did, because I'm thinking like this, dude, why didn't I tap? But you know what? That was my first time competing, so I'm like, I just didn't think it was
Your body
there.
wasn't diminished.
And
Now
I'm
you
like,
get to
in the
purple belt.
gi,
You're
I
like,
was
I
like,
can't eat them like that.
Technically, it
no
wasn't
more.
there. Your
Yeah.
arm was fine.
Like,
you
dude,
know?
I was spiking them, but like I wasn't fully extending. So like when I keep the C, like the C right here,
Yeah, you keep
and
a
so
good
I just
bend.
kept spiking until that elbow
just
cleared.
shake this dude.
And kind of like Miley Cyruson, but with my arm. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, like, I guess I got tired afterwards, but like, you don't even know, dude. The adrenaline was so high, dude.
Yeah.
I just blew through. It felt like I just blew through the tournament, and afterwards I was like, man, had a little black eye, a little right there. I was like, man, I guess I did go in there hard as hell, but I was like, dude, I didn't know it was my first one.
It was
I
a blast.
I felt
Yeah,
like that was a good year for the team. For me, I was like, man, that was probably like I was just breaking in that purple belt, and it was so horrible for me.
Yeah.
I had some tough runs at purple, man. It was, yeah.
Listen, I had some tough runs at every belt, Robert. And it's like sometimes no one's winning on the team, and that's sad. Sometimes no one's winning, but
I was that
one
guy
of
for
your
a while,
one
I
of your
felt.
dudes, right? And you're like, hey, for us for a while, we were just hanging on to Erik Ebner. We were just like, we would go, and then we would lose in the first round of our division, and then we would be like, Erik goes at 3 p.m., and then he would kill everybody.
You know who that kind of was for me? Because I always did well. Like, I always made it to the finals just by kind of out grinding and stuff like that. But then, like, I wouldn't just lose. I'd make it, but then I'd fall short at the end. So, like, I'd end up getting, like, silver. You know what I mean? But, like, the dude for us, man, because, you know what I mean, it was blue belt. You know what I mean? It was Richie.
Oh, no doubt. I knew where you were going.
Like, Richie was at blue belt is like this. Dude, he's not going to lose.
Bro,
Yeah.
blue belt.
Like, even American
he
Nationals.
went on
He won that.
crazy
Dude,
run.
He blew
he
through that
waxed.
shit. I was like, dude, Richie's a beast, man. Like, and he and I'm like, dude,
We
I
knew
know
at
if I
least
do
somebody
okay,
was taking a gold.
Richie's gonna get gold. though.
And also, too, he was going against guys that had 7 and 8 years experience and beating them badly. And he had been training for a year and a half total when he started running.
He's so technical, but he picks shit up quick. Like I don't know.
He's
He
the goose,
understands,
man.
He understands the grips and the
goose.
gi and all that.
Dude,
like,
very conceptual.
like I think he
man.
went like
he had a
30
good-
matches in a row with no loss, like in the gi or something like that. Like
Yeah, it was a crazy run, that's for sure.
he did good. So like he was that guy for us, and then like I was always doing okay. The Allen brothers was doing okay.
I wasn't.
They
I wasn't doing
No,
okay.
it wasn't,
at that
dude. I
time.
knew it's like every single.
Josh, he was doing okay. Unless
you know,
if you
here's
do
the
the
thing.
opens, which you go to the opens, and then you see these guys 200 pounds solid. And it's like this, dude. And they look like they're 230. I don't even know. I don't even think they weighed in.
Well, and you got to think like at a lot of these opens, it's like, all right, you had the Masters, and at that point I was like heavyweight. So you got a heavyweight Masters purple. Like obviously that division's not going to be stacked, but the couple guys that were in there is like, dude, they're world class guys. They've won everything, and then it's like I see that and it's like the same tournament. It's like I'm losing to the same guy, and then I look over and it's like, oh, Josh is doing well. Giancarlo, it's like.
We don't need to start naming people specifically. We could just speak hypothetically, like Josh was losing a lot.
but
we don't need to
you
give
were doing
anyone
good.
anything.
Here's the thing.
Nothing to search on YouTube.
You were doing good though.
I think
That's
that
what
was
I'm
the
throwing
last
out there.
time-
You were
couple
doing
minutes.
really good.
I want to say that was
It
the
was
last
a
time
10
he
minute
did gi.
match, bro.
Yeah, but if it was 5 minutes, I'm just saying. If it was 5 minutes,
I don't know.
I think Josh
I don't
McKinney
think-
was in the
I
bag with
don't-
some of that.
I don't count it. I don't count it.
Yeah,
I
but
don't buy
I
it.
think that was his last gi match.
I think it was his second to last. It was his last ski tournament. I think it was his
Yeah.
second to last.
Well,
ski
then
match.
like you didn't see him for a second, and then all of a sudden you seen him like, oh yeah, now he's like Gordon Ryan's training partner, and you're like, oh, he's with the Team Rogan, and it's like he's blowing.
Dude, I didn't even
Well,
know.
no, that next weekend. So I did a good. I'll say it now. It was an Aoki lock. I think you're not allowed to do that. I think that's illegal. But it was before it was really known that it should be illegal. And
Yeah, 'cause
it
it's
was
still
like
straight.
crunching and popping, and he was not making any face at all. And later I was like, man, I wonder if that actually hurt. And the next weekend he did no-gi pans, and it was the first time he beat Hulk. He had lost to Hulk a few times. It was the first time he beat him. I guess his ankle's fine.
Me and Dylan left.
Well,
that
I think
we
Hulk beat
competed
him
at.
in the weight class, and then he beat Hulk in the
Maybe
open,
that.
or it was both because Hulk got a gold there. But I want to
Maybe
say
you're right.
it might have been. I want to say Hulk actually won the weight class, and Giancarlo came back in the
Yeah, because I
open.
think we were watching some of that. Me and Dylan competed that very next weekend at No-Gi Pans because that was at the New Orleans Open, and then we competed at No-Gi Pans because that's when we watched Sanders. And it
was crazy because I was like, this is back where I did American Nationals. So it was like literally like 8 months later. It's like I'm coming back, and then after that, that's when I did Memphis. So like 3 weeks in a row, I was out of town for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because Mika had a good run there too. I think that was Mika's like shine. He was was that
that
brown
was
belt?
brown belt.
Yeah, he was like 17 or something.
I had like
Here's-
3 or 4 minutes of mat time total of 5 matches.
Here is my one gripe with IBJJF. Okay, one, I always say positive things on the podcast. Give me advantages that I deserve, please. But here is my one gripe. Is that
Wrong brand.
I think that they should max out at 52 tournaments a year. I do not like that there are not only multiple tournaments in the same weekend, but there will be 4 tournaments in the same weekend, 2 or 3 in America. And I feel like it makes a lot of 400, 500, 600 person events instead of when we came out of COVID, they could only do one event at a time. And I really think that is why competing was so much fun during that time for us, because every tournament we were going to, it was everyone who was committed to competing. And so you were getting reps against the best guys in your division because those guys want to compete 12 times a year, and there are only 12 tournaments.
There's only 12.
And it's like we were willing to go so much further. We were going to New Orleans, driving to New Orleans, which is 11 hours or whatever it is, 10 hours.
That drive's a good drive, though.
And we're doing that, I think, because there was just no other. It was like, hey, if we want to compete next month, our choices are we could compete in New Orleans or not compete.
And I'm trying to think. They didn't. Was the Chicago Opens even back running up? I mean, for Illinois?
I don't think for a while.
Because they hadn't found that new venue, because it was still at before they got back running up. The ones previous was still at the old college, but I think they were underneath that university. Like, oh, we can't. If it's over 100 people gathered, you're not going to have it. So I think Illinois is still on that. Like, oh, if you have more than 100 people, you can't. We're not going to do nothing.
I won more gold medals at that Chicago State venue than any other place.
Dude,
but I hate that place.
Tell me not though, because you remember like back in I think 16 was one of the first to last times I competed there until like I went like a couple of years before we went back there.
And it was on a Sunday, right? It was the second day.
Tell me this though, trying to warm up in that fucking venue.
Okay, so listen, this is exactly
if you could mitigate, like, dude, to get warm.
What I mean, bro. It's winter. I'm competing the day before you this time, right? And I think you're right. It's 2016. I am a brown belt. I am jogging around the low level around the perimeter, which
cold.
It's freezing. There is literally a garage door a foot open to the outside, and there is just winter wind blowing in Chicago.
It's Chicago.
Blowing
It's Chicago,
okay?
bro.
So as I'm jogging, and that garage door is there, a rat the size of a cat, bro,
Yes. I knew
ran right across in front of me, and I I almost faint. My warm-up is over, okay? Over. I'm not warming up. I'm just like, screw it. I've beaten this guy before. I'm just going to go beat him again. No warm-up. I go out, and that is the match that I break my toe in the first couple seconds of the match. And I'm like, if I really want to blame anything, I blame that giant rat that kept me from warming up.
If your skin would have been warmed up, it wouldn't have broke.
Oh, dude.
Because I remember you posted your leg, and then all of a sudden we're like, what the heck? And then the ref's like, hold on, stop. And we're like, what is going on? And then you look, and there's like
blood everywhere.
Yeah, where your foot. I'm like,
horrible.
ooh. Yeah, that's bad. And then you're just sitting there taping up your toe. I was like, oh, man, that sucked. It's like you can see the bone.
But here's the thing. One of our friends was a doctor. He was a psychologist, but he was a doctor. And he and I went to Target and cleaned that wound out in the Target bathroom. And because he's a psychologist and a good doctor, he looked at me at one point and he said, are you sure we should go through with this? And I said, yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah. And then we super glued that bad boy.
Oh, yeah,
and
of course.
I'm good. I'm healthy
why
as an ox,
why not
bro.
super glue? Super glue's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go any deeper. I'm sorry for anyone who heard. Luckily we didn't describe that, but yeah, the rat freaked me out. Chicago State. I'm glad that place closed down. I hate to say it. I love our state. I wish it wasn't broke, but I'm glad that Chicago State, with vending machines everywhere that never had anything in them, we're all just dying of thirst. You know, we're all just drinking lead-based water out of these water fountains. I never want to go back.
I feel like that venue is just more at a deficit to your competition than just like going to a bigger tournament somewhere else. Like I could sit there and go to the convention center in Las Vegas and be like, oh, this is nothing. You got parts where it's carpeted, 1 million bathrooms. Like, this is nice. And you go to Chicago, it's like, dude, I'm trying to warm up in a prison.
Not only that, because it is. And then you got to think, but before you get to the venue, shoot, you got to watch what you wear and everything. You got to think that's inner city. They're not playing. They'll try to catch you coming into the. It's like, bro.
Yeah, sometimes you book an Airbnb for Chicago Open, and you don't know Chicago.
Dude, that last one that we competed, I think, what was it? I think it was one of the last times I was a brown belt. Me and Erik booked one, and dude, we booked at this hotel, and we're like, it's cheap, whatever. And there's holes in the door to the hotel doors like this.
It didn't even look like a hotel. You know what it looked like? A mini apartment complexes, because it looked like projects.
No, let me sum it up. It looks like the Dominican Republic that got hit by a hurricane, bro.
But literally, you could see on the doors man. Where you could see, and they got the rammers, the booters, whatever you want to call them, from the police.
Oh yeah, booting in the doors. Yeah, all those doors have been booted several times.
Because you got to think they're crazy.
High crime area.
You got to think they're trafficking women out of there. You know what I mean? Like it. We'll just be playing. That's what it is. So
how much was this per night?
Oh, it's probably like 60.
Come on, bro.
I should have known.
Spent
the 3
80,
digits.
90
I know.
And been in Oaklawn. What are we doing?
Dude, I think it wasn't too far actually from the. And I was like, okay, whatever. And
exactly.
I just didn't.
You want to be far from the venue. You need a
good
what we
did? You know what we did?
Yeah,
so
like 25.
That night we was like, all right, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go hit up Mark's and get a night before warm up. I'm like, I ended up just booking one in Skokie. I'm like. Yeah, we're not even. I canceled. I'm like, yeah, look, I'm gonna come out of some money. I was like, I don't care. I'm not driving back there. I was like, I refuse, bro. I just booked one in Skokie. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna.
Just ate. We just ate the money.
Definitely the move.
Skokie is. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful place. I mean, honestly, when the three of us go to Skokie, people are like, hey, you probably shouldn't be here. You know, and that's the.
If I'm the most dangerous looking, if I'm the most dangerous looking guy,
I go to Skokie and I'd be like, this ain't Chicago.
Yeah,
this is like it. I don't know, like, but it ain't Chicago.
Yeah, this is different.
Like, literally,
like this place.
30 minutes in, you start to see the change a little bit. The culture, you see the Puerto Rican flags, the Mexican flags, then you start seeing the bodegas, and then you're like, oh yeah, now this
you're getting back towards it. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, Skokie's definitely the area to go to. It's like this, at least you're going to be 100% safe.
You never let a white belt run class unsupervised, right? So then why are you, a business white belt, still handling your gym's billing, attendance, signups, and website all by yourself? Kicksite is like having a full-time staff that doesn't eat, doesn't snack, doesn't call in sick. And I've used them for years because the software is built specifically for jiu-jitsu coaches who would rather be chasing the back and not chasing down missed payments. So if you're interested, go to kicksite.com/Josh McKinney and try it for free for 30 days. This is the best software for running and managing your gym that exists. Be sure to check them out at kicksite.com. In the morning, I threw it back up there and everything was up to code.
I would have just left it outside.
I wouldn't even, dude, for that, like, here's the thing. You should replace it. You're on ahead. Like they're not going to say nothing.
Somebody else to suffer. Yeah, I wanted the next person who booked to the room to have to solve that same problem.
It was so bothering.
I don't want to have to solve it for him.
Oh, man,
it's so bothering. You're like, this dude. I think every single person that chooses to stay here needs to suffer this same problem.
That's what I'm saying. So this is actually the question I wanted to start with for you guys, okay? And this, I don't know the answer to this. Where the heck are you guys from? Who are you? Where did you guys even come from? I just know you walked into my gym in 2016, and to be honest, I don't really know much more of you up until that point, besides that, you had jiu-jitsu experience and then all the crazy stories of your guys' lives that you've told me. But I don't know, there's never been hey, here is the Arias Brothers storybook. This is where it starts. All of the stories are so sprinkled in throughout that I'm like, I don't know when this could have happened last week, or this could have happened when they're kids. I'm not sure. They're just telling me something crazy that they did.
So we were born in Long Island, New York. And,
what?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Nope.
Bryce,
that's why my birth certificate took so long to get. Had to come from New York. I waited almost 3 months.
Yeah. So we were born in New York, and then obviously my dad was from Mexico. So when my mom went down to Mexico, met him, and they came back to the States or whatever. And then shortly after, you know, we were born and whatnot. Obviously back then it was my grandparents had lived in New York. They moved to the Midwest. So before we came here, my dad had sisters that stayed in California. So we moved to California. We went from New York to LA. We was in LA for a little bit. My dad was just trying to find work, and it was like, it wasn't really working out. So then we made our way here, and then we ended up moving to Greenville because my grandparents moved there. And then like shortly after my grandparents were in Greenville for a little bit, they moved to Collinsville.
Okay.
And we just stayed in Greenville all the way up through elementary through, till pretty much I lived there till probably about like me being in the gym with you for like a year.
Yeah.
And I just moved up here. Like we was like, yeah, we're going to move out of here. But yeah, we're pretty much from Bond County area. Grew up there.
All right. What was the deciding factor for your family, if you know, to move to Greenville?
I think, well, my mom was an only child. So when her parents, my grandparents, they moved to, they moved from, I guess, I don't know why they wanted to move to the Midwest. I guess you're just getting older and stuff, but they was like, yeah, we're going to move somewhere more slow pace or whatever. They ended up moving to Greenville. And then I guess they probably saw the writing on the wall, if you were to say, before anybody else. They were probably just like, yeah, this is small and slow, but it's not progressive enough as well. So we got to get out of Bond County. And so they moved up to Collinsville. And then my grandpa, he was always a handyman and stuff. And so he ended up joining one of the local unions. He was like a technician, ended up being like back when Sears had their like big where they'd send guys out to work on appliances and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He ran a whole like division thing. He had like technicians underneath him and stuff like that. And so like that's kind of what he did for a living before he passed away. And then so he moved up here, and then my mom and them were in Greenville. My dad finally ended up getting a job in Greenville that was pretty good for the time, and so he was there for a long time. And my dad kind of likes Greenville. He's been there forever, and you know, it's kind of grown a part of him, and so you know, he likes it. But they stayed there. Me, I was kind of like, man, I was always heading up this way since, you know, late junior high, early high school because of training. Mm-hmm. Never pulled the trigger, you know, whatnot. And then obviously I was older, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I could drive to work 4 days a week out of town, or I can stay in this town where I really don't want to live and drive 6 days a week to go train. I was like, it's simple. I'm gonna stay where I want to live and commute to where I want to work. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what it was. And I pulled the trigger, and that's when we ended up moving to Edwardsville because I had, you know, girls and stuff. I was like, you know, Greenville was just kind of getting to a point where there was nothing going on. Started getting bad with drugs and stuff. And so I was like, I just want to have a better place for my girls to grow up. You know, they don't have to take every opportunity that I present them, but I want to present them as many opportunities as possible. And so, yeah, that was pretty much it. We made the move to go to Edwardsville, and then shortly after, you know, Erik moved up there with us, and him and his wife, and, you know, yeah. And we just started being able to kind of execute the progress of getting Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu going, you know. And
yeah, so now fast forward, you're starting, you know, your immigrant parents worked hard. So they worked in trades, traveling all around. So you guys could risk it all to teach a Brazilian martial art.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you're both grandpas.
Yeah,
You're master to grandpa.
Just became a grandpa today.
You know, we glossed over the story, but there was some missing context there. You know, I got more info than I've ever gotten for sure. But at what point did we decide? You know, you've been under me forever. At what point did we decide on the new gym? What is that looking like? Tell me about, because from my perspective, I'm like hanging out with Robert and Erik on a Wednesday night. They come to class. Robert will help teach class. And then I'm like on Facebook the next day, I'm looking at articles, and Robert's talking about his life story and stuff, talking about Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, he was just in my gym last night. Where's Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu? And so, since we're all asking the question, tell me about it. Where are we at? First, tell me when it originally started, what kind of happened, and then where we're at
So I've always had a thing of like, all right, I know at some point in the future in my life, I was like, me personally, I just kind of wanted to wait till I got my black belt. I knew I could have taught before that, but it was just like, you know, with the times and everything, you know, especially business wise, it just kind of it looked better. Me being a black belt, you know, just kind of having more accolades to my name. Because if you look like, all right, what's going to distinguish this gym between that gym, or what do you really present? And a lot of times, you know, especially if people don't know about jiu-jitsu or anything, you could be a purple belt and it's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this dude, you could be fantastic. And I think you'd be a fantastic coach at purple belt, let's say. To somebody who doesn't know anything about it, they're like, oh, the black belt, you know?
Makes sense.
And so it's like, but for me, I was like, I also wanted to be a little bit more well-rounded, kind of wanted to wait till I got that black belt. I just felt like, for me personally, I held myself to a little bit higher standard. I was like, you know, I know I'm good at jiu-jitsu, but I just want to be better, and I just wanted to be good enough. For me, I just felt like I needed that extra. And so finally when I got the black belt and I felt ready, I was like, you know, I think it was like right before I got my black belt, we just had an opportunity. One of mine and Eric's really good buddies, who's a student of ours, he owned a strongman gym. And he had dibble-dabbled with, you know, some grappling MMA stuff back in the day. And I'd known him, you know, for like over 10 years at this point. And one day we were coaching Mikey, one of my students, and he was kind of talking about, hey, you know, what do you think about bringing this program back towards a little bit of our home? He's like, I got a spot. So, you know, the opportunity presented itself for us to like kind of start out. And so I was like, you know what, let's go on ahead and do it, you know. And then my brother came in. When he started training, I was like, you know, that's the perfect thing. Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu. You know, it's like you got two brothers, you know, it fits perfect. And so, you know, we ended up starting off in Carlisle and whatnot. We'd had a first good 5 solid months when we did start off. You know, ended up taking only 5 months being open, taking like 8 new beginners to a local tournament. Ended up taking like 11 medals. Got like 9th place out of 42 academies. Yeah, it definitely showed like, you know, the passion that we put in. It was when we'd run class, you know, we had our class schedule, but I always caught myself and even Erik, you know, we'd stay like 30 minutes after, always helping.
Dude, grinding.
Yeah, you know, just always helping, you know, getting extra reps in, you know, if somebody had questions, you know, just who we are, you know, as teachers and just as passionate people with jiu-jitsu. It's like, you know, I always want to help somebody and I always want to, you know, be real eager for them to get something. So if they got a question, you know, we'll pretty much stay there and figure it out until they figure it out. And so that we did that. We ended up doing really good at this tournament. And then some unfortunate things happened. We ended up losing the building. And so, you know, now we're like, hey, you know, let's figure this out. And so hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a spot.
And we'll be announcing it. Sweet.
And we'll be announcing it.
And so we'll have to follow Arias Bros on
sure.
Instagram to get the official announcement. It might even be the time that this comes out. Who knows? He might be announcing it.
Yeah.
So
For
people
sure.
should definitely check that out.
I think this week we'll actually know something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm just
He's the guy to ask more than me.
Yeah, you know, look, here's the thing. That's because while he was sitting there doing jiu-jitsu, I just took it in my head. It didn't matter what I did. I wasn't going to work for nobody else. I think Josh is the only person that I could work for. That is it. You know what I mean?
That's because I have the same attitude as you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Quit. If I get a job, got to quit it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's for starters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then when you grind and hustle, you're like, oh man, you know, you find ways to just, you know what I mean, work for yourself and stuff like that. And you know, like for me, like when I was like, I did jiu-jitsu, I'm like, man, like, because that's how my mind always worked before jiu-jitsu. So I was like, man, if I'm going to do this, though, might as well just do it, like, for myself, you know what I mean? And it's a business. And I didn't even think it would be a good business running a jiu-jitsu gym until I seen, like, you and Kyle. You guys made it cool to own gyms and make money at that. Like, especially Kyle's. I walked in his gym. I was like this. Dude, what the heck, dude? Like, this is like the science center.
Seriously?
Look, double floors. You know what I mean? 8 different rooms to train in.
Yeah.
Nice showers.
So
bathroom.
beautiful. Such a great gym.
Definitely, though, set the bar high to where I'm glad he did it like that because that's where I strive mine to be.
Totally
like
hear that.
showers, You know what I mean? I want to get the CJI walls on mine. You know, I want to have my shit legit. You know what I mean? And like Kyle, like he kind of made where it was like, okay, you know what I mean? I might not be able to do it that big, but I'm gonna do it nice, and my shit's gonna go hard. You know what I mean? And that's why I want it, you know.
I'm so excited for you guys to get to start running your gym because with business.
Oh yeah, Josh is gonna teach free privates.
Yeah, I'm only gonna teach there. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna sell Head Nod and then teach at Arias Bros.
And I'm
the third Arias Bro.
I might buy Head Nod.
Yeah, so they'll all be Arias Bros. But something like in business that I think people don't always understand is that there are a lot of parts to running a business, and so generally as a business owner you're having to do all those parts in the beginning, right? And then eventually the ones you don't like you're able to pass off. But a part of business, not even just in business, just something that you guys both understand so well, and I have very easy proof of this. One is, of course, just hustle and hard work. You both are really, sometimes I'll say some very not tasteful things to Robert in the middle of rounds about his work ethic and his culture, and they're really rough. I won't repeat them on the podcast. Sometimes I'll say those things, but in truth, you guys are two of the biggest hustlers that I know, but then you guys understand branding better than almost anybody that I know. For instance, the fact that you were wearing you're wearing Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu, while we're talking about the announcement of the gym. Not, hey, we've had this gym for 3 months, we're figuring out something. Well, when we think about where the dog pound came from, where did that come from?
American Nationals.
That came from American Nationals. That came from you telling me, don't worry, coach, I'm a dog. And I'm like, what does that mean though? You're like, just watch. I'm like, okay, I'll watch. And I did. I was okay.
Look, and just watch. You know what I mean? Because I'll send you the pic after I get my tattoo later on. And here's the thing. I don't know how you guys do the thing for the little picture stuff for here, but I'll send you it. And if you can,
I'll throw the dog bite one on there.
It's gonna be so
That'll be
sick.
Good. Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure he puts extra needle time into it, even though if it's gonna hurt more.
Yeah. So the origin of the name is just that Erik was telling me he's a dog. I was doing like marketing emails, and I sent out an email and told that story. But then a few weeks later, we were at a different tournament, and it was like you, Ron, and Dylan, I think, walked in, and I was sitting really high up in the bleachers, and I took a video of you guys walking in, and I said, the dog pound has arrived, DAWG.
Okay.
And then we were like, that's a good name. We should keep saying that. And then it ran wild. And those things, like the branding part and that, and like just how you're describing your gym. Like, yeah, it's going to have the CJI walls. It's going to go hard. I don't know what go hard means, but it's going to do that. And that's going to be, I'm excited because I know that means that the feel of the gym is going to feel the way that you guys tried to design it to feel. And that's like that blue room head nod. Not that I don't love the way that our current head nod feels, but the blue room head nod felt like something when you walked in, and it was the brand of it. It felt like you were going in the back room of a gym, and you had to walk through.
Yeah, I think it was more intimidating, to be honest.
It really was.
I mean, maybe because it was my
totally
first
agree.
time, but
less
like,
of a business.
but like, here's the thing. Like, I feel like you only went there if you really just wanted to train.
Yeah, it was a fight club place.
Yeah, like, and like I'm going in there. I'm like, man, Justin Huff beating my ass. You know what I mean? Then Erik Huebner on side control beating my ass. And then like, dude, you know what's so crazy? I don't even think I won a round when I was in the blue room.
Yeah.
At all.
Dude, I remember even the first, the Friday open mats that Josh started there. And it was like, I remember like, obviously it was just like a bunch of pro MMA guys.
The Thursday
and a few
ones, right?
It might've been Thursday.
Uh-huh.
And then, some of St. Louis top black belts. And it was like, I was one of the only students that was a competitor. So then I started going to it, and it was just like, man, those rooms are so tough. I was like, I could swear that practice was probably the hardest room to be in the whole entire freaking Midwest. Like at any point, there was like, man.
But I agree
crazy.
with that. But to that point, even that, it only lasts for a period. It's hard to keep a group of really high level grapplers together. And
Why is that though?
I think one, because of lack of money. I think if it was financially sound for people to be high level grapplers and it was easy to make money, I think that everyone would be like, well, we don't need to venture out, right? No. And so that's like why I love you guys starting a school that's close, is like, we don't have to, you guys aren't going to be 10 hours away. And I'm like, oh man, I only get to see the Arias Bros, when I visit Florida, and it's like, or Mexico. I don't know where you guys are going.
I might be the next spot. I could afford it though, I would have one down there in Florida.
Well, I guess that's the future, but at least right now, it's cool that we can, you tell all those stories of these old school guys, but it's nice that you can still have some of that same camaraderie. But it's tough because it's, for a lot of people, they just don't ever take the risk to start trying to make money in the jiu-jitsu space. And then it always ends up being something you have to pay for, and never something that gives you, even if you made enough to just be break even, if it paid for your travel, for a lot of people, that would be huge. And I think that, you get older, you have more of a family, and you're like, man, I got to keep pouring money into this thing, and I'm never getting anything, at least financially, out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the hardest thing when I think about like why that group doesn't train together anymore. Really, all of that was that people needed to go out to do other things financially, really.
Oh, yeah. Like you look at a lot of them now, like even then, like some of those guys, they were just like, they were part of other teams or whatever, but they were also black belts that at that time didn't have their own school.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're still in this thing where I'm, I might be doing another career right now, but I'm still somewhat of a hyper competitor. Maybe even I'm not like an adult black belt, but I'm still like, I'm competing frequently. I'm a very good black belt competitor. And so for right now, I'm just kind of worried about the competition, and I'm just kind of, still having fun in this realm. And then, some of those guys, it's like, all right, I'm not competing as much. Now I'm going to be maybe full-time coaching, or maybe this is the avenue. I want to open up my own gym. I want to start making some money off of this because I'm not worried about achieving my own accolades. I want to get something else out of it. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of see in a few of those guys even take that route. And it's like,
and it takes time. It takes your time away from training.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need to make money. And then you go, well, I wanted to make money to do jiu-jitsu more. And the problem is, in order to make money, I have to do jiu-jitsu less. And like this business that I'm doing is causing me to get to do the hobby of jiu-jitsu less, which was originally why I set out to do this. And that's always the risk with business, is that it just becomes a job and it stops becoming something you love. But when it gets to be like, that's what I talk about, like branding. Well, as an art, right? When there are parts of your business that get to be an art and that they're fun. And like for you guys really enjoy helping people get better at jiu-jitsu. And you both do. If somebody that's new said, oh, Robert came to class in Edwardsville and I partnered with him, I'm like, oh, I'm sure the Chino trap and the omoplata now and the trap triangle and this and that. And they'll be like, yeah, I do. Like he stayed for an hour and we talked about that.
I gave him a whole instructional first day.
And it's like, you guys really enjoy seeing somebody learn the jiu-jitsu that you bring, and that is something that you can stick with. But then there comes this point where you start to go, man, I've taught enough of these fat morons my Chino trap. Why don't they just know it? I hate them, right? And so there's always that risk. But I think when you go kind of forward the way you guys are, where it's like, we want to do this because we love it and we've gotten so much out of it, and now it's our turn to give back, because that's how people should act. That to me is when you're going to get true joy out of it. And you're going like, oh, but the goal of this, like, it's awesome that we make money now, but the goal of this is that we want to help people, is because we have been helped. Back to the first thing you were saying, Erik, is you were saying like, how you like to give people chances now. And there is this thing in, you'll hear some pastors talk about, is that the same level in which we have been forgiven, we tend to forgive. It's much easier for someone who has been forgiven for a lot to forgive others. It's harder for someone who feels as though they've never needed to be forgiven for anything to forgive other people. That's when people talk about being like oh, this person's holier than thou, and that is, the same thing for you guys. Is like your guys' story has set you up so much for this, to be able to take these next steps as jiu-jitsu coaches. And just while we're on the subject, I just want you both to know that I'm really proud of you guys. And
Thank you.
yeah, and I just it's really cool to get to see.
I'm quitting next week.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you could quit next week.
Yeah, I mean,
but
It's the only
still-
thing I do, though,
Yeah,
man.
what
Like,
you guys have done. I'm very proud of you
done
guys
with
where
it.
you guys are
I'm
at,
gonna
and I'm
start
excited
fishing.
to see Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu. But when you guys start to bring competitors, my competitors are going to crush your guys' competitors, and if they can't, I will compete against your guys' competitors.
The
and
white belt
then-
rivalries.
and
Dude, we're
Have you ever finished a roll and thought, what was I even doing out there? Same. We have all felt that way. And that is why you need Jiu-Jitsu for Imbeciles, a free course from Rob Bernacki that explains Jiu-Jitsu so clearly, it makes you wonder how you ever got confused in the first place. I am telling you, it is like a TED Talk for people who suck at Jiu-Jitsu. And that is why they're giving it totally free to I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show listeners. So go to bjjmentalmodels.com/ISuck and download it for free right now before you throw away another roll chasing guillotines from bottom side control.
I think we was at what was I think it was the Fuji or whatever. We had a couple guys go against Josh's couple guys or whatever. And it's the same, but here's the thing, like,
Was I there?
yeah,
Was
you was
I
there.
there?
Yeah, hey,
remember,
look,
Listen, that was
look.
my B team
Hey,
that
look.
you guys were going
No,
against.
it was white. It was white belts, I think. But
What matches did we have?
I know.
man, I think Brett and
Austin.
Rest in peace, Austin,
Oh,
man.
man.
that was a good one, man.
Poor,
Yeah,
I
I think
remember that.
Gi and Nogi, I think they
And
matched up twice.
There's somebody else though.
I remember
There's
that.
somebody
day.
I
else.
thought Ben was in
Ben might
somebody's
have been in
division too. Yeah, man, it was.
Dude, I don't know, but either way, I'm already prepared for it anyway because, dude, I literally seen him and Kyle doing it for years now.
Years
dude.
and years.
At the locals, like, and then with Junior too, and then Junior's like, I love Junior because he's like this. Yeah, he's like this. Yeah, I'm not gonna. If he loses, I'm not coaching him no more.
Well, we talk honestly, like me, Kyle, Junior,
Junior's
Nick.
my homie.
When our guys compete, we talk very little trash to each other, but we talk so much trash
Under
to
students.
the other
Yeah.
person's
Oh, yeah.
competitor.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll try
Oh,
to
yeah.
get in their head. I do that. I'm so bad about that. I told Kyle the story of like, yeah, dude, when Champ was beating one of my dudes down and he was in mount. I go, don't worry, he won't get this submission. He won't go for a submission. He's a Watson martial arts guy. He's just going to stall. And he's trying to submit. He's trying so hard to submit. And he looked up so confused and hurt because he was like, but you're a Watson martial arts guy. You're under Kyle, bro. And
That's funny.
I'm like, hey, I gotta try somewhat. I gotta try to win.
Oh man,
It's the game, bro. I think back to a lot of different, on the coaching people note. For you and I, Robert, we would have to coach each other, and you were being put in certain situations where you were a new-ish blue belt, and you were coaching against really high-level coaches while your brown belt coach was out there competing. That was it's weird how that role just needs to be filled.
And it's always, in all these stories, it's like, man, I just come to realize all these stories, like some of these main stories, I'm just thinking, it's like, why does it always involve me getting news about a kid?
Dude,
A
honestly,
baby. Bro, I remember we was in Chicago, bro, and you had the super fight on Fight to Win, and I'm up there coaching, and we're in the hotel room.
I thought we were driving there.
I don't even know if we were driving. Here's the one what I do remember is I crack
you've
a beer
been
in the
told
hotel.
about a lot of kids. I've only heard people being told about like one kid,
Dude,
and that
you
was
thought,
you.
look, I thought Josh is about to go and compete on one of the biggest stages at the time, and he didn't even look nervous. When I cracked a beer in the hotel room and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm having, another daughter, and I cracked that beer, he looks at me, he's like, dude, you're about to have a kid, and I'm like, what? It's a Tuesday. Type of deal. I'm like, what else is new?
Listen, dude, his wife called and she said, well, I'm pregnant. And he said,
Cool.
okay, cool. Just like that. And I was like, he's messing with me.
I was with his wife.
I'm like, he's joking. It's a joke. They're messing with me together. And I'm like,
No.
this dude was so unfazed by the news of having another child. He was like, yeah, this is what I do. This is like, yeah. And then you
now
show up today.
And then today it's like I'm a grandpa. You know what I mean?
Man.
It's like luckily I'm knocking on that Masters too, man, because I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that extra edge.
Yeah, honestly, very few grandparents in the Master 1 division. I'm not trying to be that guy, but I just got to Master 1. I got a 2-year-old brother.
Yeah.
Very
You're
few.
you're still at the beginning.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm
Slight
saying,
beginning
dude.
at that.
Slight, dude.
Yeah.
That's a slider.
We're just there, bro.
2 years old. Man, I'm trying to think, dude. I think I got grandkids older than your son.
Holy smokes, you guys are one. You
Yeah,
guys, listen. This
we
is
both got older
definitely-
women too, so it's like that's also we'll add that to there. I mean, I'm 35.
This is definitely a joke that I shouldn't tell on the podcast, but it's absolutely hilarious. So if you get offended by these type of things, just fast forward it. So Anthony Jeselnik credits himself for being the most offensive comedian that there is, and he has this joke, and I've probably told you it before.
Was it
Robert?
Mexican?
It is something like they say having a baby is a lot like playing the lottery. Because Latinos love it more than anybody. All right, Bryce. I think that's it, Bryce. I think we got to just end right there. That should be. Yeah, that's a good joke, right?
That's good.
That's pretty good, right? After the story of you guys just dropping grandkids on me, traveling the world, having more grandkids, like I just thought. And maybe I would hit you with that joke, see how it fit you guys. Feel good?
It's great. It's great.
Oh man.
So, for you guys, where do you see the future of the gym going? What is kind of when you go? Let's even go 10 years from now, because we're about at Head Nod. We are about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary in November. Yep, it will be at 10 years.
You guys been that long?
November.
I don't know why I feel like it would be like 6 or 7.
November of 2015 is when we opened. And so, that was like our
And
first.
you got 2, right? Or 3 now.
3, brother.
That's why I said so. Like I could tell you in 10 years
Heavy.
what I'd want. I'm striving for 2, but one of them I wanted to be out of state. And
I can sell you one in Granite City.
hey, no, I'll probably scoop that one up on the way. But,
All right, perfect.
But
Scoop it up to the finish
I
line.
think I really want to get one out of state because
When
like,
you say out of state, where do you think?
man, like honestly, it might even sound cliche, man, but Texas.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, like I've always liked going there. It seems like a lot of times where I feel like I'm free, and for me, I've had a lot of vices hold me back. Certain stipulations where I can't leave out of state, and it's like, dude, now I'm like I feel like within even in the next couple of years, I'll be able to do all that, and it's like, dude, I just want to. I might even think about even just moving out of state. You know what I mean? Just because just to, when you can't do something a lot of times, you're like, well, man, let me just go do that. That's kind of what I want to do, and I mean, by then. And I won't do it right away because I want the gym up and running. But even like 5 or 6 years, you know what I mean, of it being strong or whatever. By then, we're bringing up people, students. They'll have coaches. By then, everybody will be more leveled up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, and stuff. And so I'll have good people and confident, trustworthy people who could even run it. You know what I mean, and so maybe take the wife or whatever and move out of state because I think she's been kind of wanting to too a little bit, and so maybe if not Texas, I mean who knows, man, maybe Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Like it's not as far, and I feel like what, screw it, I mean, go over there and open it up because like with my mindset, I don't even care. You know what I mean? You could have fancy, you could have better, whatever, but like when you don't have to answer to nobody. It's always the best feeling. And so that's what it's been for me. Like, if I ain't got to answer to nobody and I could do what I truly want to do, the way I want to do it, it's the best to me anyway. And so like, you know, I know my ideas are great. You know what I mean? My marketing ideas are phenomenal, and I'll go above what normal people won't do because like, heck, I mean, I'm getting the dog pound tatted on my hand, like in like 3 or 4 hours. Like, name one gym person who's gonna do that at their gym. You're not gonna see nobody get their gym logo like that. Like they're not willing to do it, and they won't do it. But I'll be willing to do that. And if they got it, I'd get it on the other side of my head. I wouldn't care because that's what I'm willing to do. I don't want to just be at the top. I want to break. It could even be in the middle. I want to break barriers. Like I want to be outside the box. I want to be different within it. Like, and I want to run it different. Like the way I run the gym, I want it to be different. Like I'm gonna have stuff where people just come in the morning. I'm gonna be in there like 2-3 times a day because even right now I'm only at the house and in the gym, and those are the only 2 places I go. So like for me, like the gym's everything, and so for my everything spot, you know, I'm gonna have it, you know, legit the way I want to, and like you know, I'll expand when it comes time, and when I do expand, I'll be able to do it to the capability that I did the first one. So I won't expand until I could do it great. Like I'm not gonna lay out, you know, some cornball stuff or nothing like that. No, like I want my shit to be prop. Like that's just how I always been. Like even when I did stuff that I couldn't advertise, you know what I mean? Like my stuff was still prop, you know what I mean? And I always strive for the best. Like I like the best of everything. The no-gi gear, the gis, like I have to rock top of the line. Like that's just how I always been since I was like 15. Like I want the best stuff, the best shoes, you know what I mean? I want the best car, like, you know, just everything that I want it to be the best, if not close to it, the best of my capability. And so, you know what I mean? I strive high. So wherever I hit my mark, you know what I mean? It'll still be what I want, you know, even with boundaries and things that are trying to get in the way of it. If I strive high, you know what I mean? I'll still land where I want to land. And then from there, I'm going to still keep going. So I'll eventually get where I want to go, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think for me also, it's going to be a little bit like what you were saying, but my position. I think obviously, you know, being the black belt coach and stuff, I think like within like 5 to 10 years, I'd also want to see like our students leveled up. I mean, by then, who knows, you know, at least have a couple black belts myself underneath me, you know, to where it's like, I got a bunch of, you know, generals per se, you know, where it's like, all right, you know.
I think Mike Giller will be that one.
Yeah, man.
I kind of want Mikey to do that. You know, he's good. He's honest.
Yeah, Mike's been an ace for a long time. I've known Mikey since, heck, probably junior high.
I mean, you guys
know
see,
what I mean?
I don't know if you guys seen the article he posted out with Bold Journal.
Bold Journey, yeah.
Oh, here's the thing.
It was the same one who did mine and Ron's and Eric's.
So Mikey, mind you, been training forever.
Yeah, he's been training
I remember
with me
before
forever.
I even kind of even knew what the training was, and him and Robert was in the garage, and this was like, geez, what, 2008, 9, 10, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
A long time, but like you look at the picture and you got Mikey like this, looking like he's like 12 years old with MMA gloves on. And I told Mikey, I'm like, dude, that's dope, because to be honest, man,
he's
I
put a
wish
lot of time
I
in.
would have did positive stuff like that when I was that age. And, you know, they did it when it wasn't that plentiful. So they would travel, do it out the garage and stuff. And so, like, I want to make it to where it's plentiful.
Yeah, I think a lot of
It's
people
easy,
don't get,
you know?
I mean, like I've always said that too. Like nowadays you hear people like, I don't know, man, I don't want to make that little drive, or I don't feel like going to this gym today. Oh, a bunch of our buddies are going to be at this gym, but it's like 30 minutes away. It's like, man, I remember I used to drive like an hour at least just to go find some gi jiu-jitsu. So it was like, you know, I normally.
mean, yeah, even when I was, you know, even at my gym, you know, you were driving, 45 minutes at least?
Yep, that's what I said. And it's like, dude, and I was coming every single day that I could. And it was like, I've even made that switch to where I'm like, I'd rather drive to work because it's going to be a couple days less than. So, I mean, I pretty much moved to like substitute my jiu-jitsu training versus my work, because I always knew work was just going to be work. And I knew that I was always going to get to this point. It's just, you know, when and at the right time that I wanted to just start executing that. But yeah, I think I'd like to, probably have like at least maybe another location, probably, pretty much let my students elevate and, create opportunities for them like you have for us. Like I seen you see a lot of teachers and they're horrible to their students. Like, it's like, oh, they want to go make a living. We're going to disown you. We're going to be, you're a piece of garbage.
Was horrible to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been,
you noticed I said Steve earlier.
Yeah,
Steve was the key in all.
And that's the thing. Like, everybody knows, like, I've trained forever. I've been to, a bunch of different teams, 15 different gyms, in the course of my life. But I also stuck with you guys because you guys were genuine. And it's one of those where it's like, I seen how nice you are. To like, you could be like, I could be like, hey, I'm opening up a gym over here. What can I do? What can I do to help you? Hey, I'll give you this. Hey, let me give you this insight. Now I see other coaches that's like, dude, this is one of your students for 10 years and you're going to tear them down. You're going to treat them like crap. They're friends in the gym. You're going to tear them apart. And it's like, I don't get that, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that. And it's like, so I just like even seeing how the way you moved in jiu-jitsu, like I've always been like a guy who's like, all right, I've done combat sports forever. And so it was like, I was always going to be like that guy who done martial arts, done the competitions, whether it was, my boxing days or whatever. And then like even to jiu-jitsu, but just even me being older than you, but seeing how you moved, that made my jiu-jitsu kind of shift a little bit because I'm like, you know what, man, I kind of emulated what you were doing, even though it was like this. So like you were like a real big mentor to me, even being, like my kid. No, but it was one of those where it's like, I'd watch how you moved in jiu-jitsu, the way, the way you'd address competitions, the way you would address teaching people, how you interacted with other gyms, other people from other gyms. And it's like, I don't think there's anybody, at least, unless you're like a person we won't mention from the Nashville Open, that actually hates Josh McKinney in jiu-jitsu, especially in this area. I don't, there's like literally if you ask anybody from any team within, 100-mile radius, they're going to be like this. Yeah, Josh is the man. Josh is cool. Josh, you've been good to everybody. And I think you get that back. And so like, that's why you hear a lot of guys from other teams, like, Erik cross trains at a lot of gyms. That,
I think literally, like
I'll meet people that I don't even know.
Be like 6.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I'll have people come up to me who I don't even know, and I've been in jiu-jitsu longer, and I've been around longer than he has. They're like, oh yeah, you got a brother, don't you? Man, that dude's solid, man. He helped me with this, blah blah blah. And it's like the way we address jiu-jitsu and the way we treat people in jiu-jitsu. I just want to be known as like, hey, these guys, man, they're solid. Besides being good at jiu-jitsu and their jiu-jitsu being legit. I just want to be known as like these are guys from Josh and Steve McKinney. They represent their jiu-jitsu, and so I act accordingly when I represent that. Like I wouldn't do nothing to tarnish that. And so it's like, that's why I got a lot of firm beliefs and stuff that I feel like in jiu-jitsu and like even going to. We'll even touch this subject because I kind of wanted to touch it, is these guys that get this platform, to execute being a teacher, an instructor in jiu-jitsu, and they have relations with their students. It's like, stop it, guys. Like, honestly, it's like, because, I'm not saying nobody's an adult, and everything like that, but you don't know where that position could end up. It's like, it could be good now, but who knows where that could be in 5 years, and this situation that you created ended badly. And then now you poisoned your gym environment, and then the friends, and it's tearing apart. And I've seen that, I've seen that in around our area. I've seen gyms that it's happened to, and it's like, guys, just do better. You got blessed with this opportunity to be an instructor. Man, I think,
and they're playing themselves.
They're playing themselves, and it's like you got this position now, and you got this platform that you've obviously got all these blessings thrown your way. You got this opportunity, and you want to tank it. It's like I just don't get, because like I know, we got, we're gonna get that opportunity, but it's like to just be given that opportunity, and you mess that up. I don't like it.
Here's what's weird too, because I totally hear what you're saying. That's why, like the relations thing is why I had to tell you guys, hey, stop trying to date me. I'm your coach, right? But here's what's weird is that people I don't think that we always recognize the reverence that we will typically treat a good coach with, right? The reverence that I treat Kyle with. And now I've been able to trust Kyle, and that has been why I probably treat you guys the way that I treat you, is because of this relationship that I had with Kyle for this long, you know? But I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to be one of Kyle's students if he did something that I like morally went, oh no, I absolutely don't agree with this. I think this is wrong, right? And I think that it would probably be somewhat a betrayal of that trust that we have, right? And like that is like our friendship that we have. I think that is why I never even would think twice about where you guys would open a school, because I know you guys wouldn't do anything that would be knowingly negative to me. You know what I mean? Like I know that because I wouldn't do that to you, and that's how we've treated each other, you know, and there's that mutual respect. And, you know, it's this, you don't realize a lot of the time, but once you become a coach, there is this position, just like what you just said about me of like, oh yeah, in 100 miles, everybody likes Josh. I think that's BS. I don't buy it, you know? And I think that because it's very easy to get in that mindset of like, hey, we've polled a lot of people around and a lot of them like Josh. I'm like, nah, there are definitely people that don't like Josh and probably even have had interactions that they could tell you and go, you know what? I get why you don't like the guy, you know? And so to me, it's like, it can be a scary position as a jiu-jitsu coach, even just a low-level local jiu-jitsu coach, because certain people look up to you with reverence. But it's one of those things that, like, if you give them reason to trust you and you don't betray that trust, then it can be such an awesome thing. It's just we don't get all coaches that do that. And when it doesn't happen, it really sticks out.
Well,
you know?
And then you see it, like, and I hate to say, like, even in our area, man, like, it kind of happens a little bit. And it's like, man, so just imagine, like, how small of the community, or would you say, like, the jiu-jitsu world, like, people that are, like, in the realm of, like, they're in jiu-jitsu, they know about jiu-jitsu, you know, the jiu-jitsu community, if you'd say it's still small. But if you look at, like, how many schools and everything that's having all these mishaps, it's like, all right, now take that to like a high school education system. You got a school there.
They'd be in prison.
And you know what I mean? But if you look at all the, you look at all like the school system, obviously, you know, across the country is obviously bigger than the jiu-jitsu school system across the country, right? There's more schools than there is jiu-jitsu academies. If you're talking about like how many instructors you kind of see that kind of abuse that power, if you'd say, you translate that number to like the school system. Like, holy crap, dude, people wouldn't want to send their kids to school. And it's like, you know, for my thing is, it's like, you know, it could, by them doing that, you're almost ruining like the like anybody else who might know about it. It's like, all right, hey, this guy just opened up a jiu-jitsu school. And it's like, yeah, but you know what I heard about jiu-jitsu academies? Da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, you know, you're kind of ruining that rep of even somebody to enjoy beautiful art because you done jeopardized, you know, that space that was supposed to be a good space for everybody to come together as a team, a community, you know, to be a part of something, and you abuse this power of privilege, you know, whether you know, relationships and stuff, you know, nobody's saying nothing's like not a consensual relationship, but it's like you should know better because that's like you're the instructor. Like you just can't do that.
I think,
you know, you just can't.
I totally agree with you on those points, but I have kind of a counter argument that this is much bigger than jiu-jitsu. We notice in jiu-jitsu because that's our community. Yeah. But think about the Coldplay thing that was just on the news, where it was the CEO with whatever.
They made the memes about?
One of the girls that was, you know, worked in the business.
HR.
He was in a position of power. And that is this topic that isn't defined. Obviously, we know when age is a problem, then it's illegal, right? Yeah. But when it's not age, it's like, oh, you know, like this girl is 18 now, and I was her teacher for, you know, however long. That should be okay, right? Because, you know, like we don't talk about that. No. Because you are in a position of power, the relationship is different. And so that is, I think that like I think it's more of a deeper issue than just jiu-jitsu. I think it's easy when you're in any community or you're looking at any community to see bad things happen and then go, oh, this is everybody.
Yeah.
I really do believe when I get to talk to more and more people, I think there are a lot of people that recognize like, hey, I don't think that's something that should be going on. But I think that when you see it happen or you hear it happen, you usually hear it happen because the gym fell apart because of it, right? It's like something, hey,
and
all
even
these
if it
people
doesn't,
felt that their trust was betrayed and it falls apart. And so I think that is just, and it's, again, it's like, I think it's people's opinion on whether or not the position of power thing is wrong. But when you look at society, it seems like people think it's wrong. It seems like people go, hey, there's something this needs to be addressed in a way. It's just, I don't think that any of us really know how, because really at a point you are consenting adults,
I think even from the outside, I think as people who don't know about jiu-jitsu, or they just look at it, oh, that's a karate place, whatever. They'll probably be like, oh, those are just two people in their 40s consenting, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I got to look at it like, all right, hey, I'm looking at it as in the gym community, as an academy, and being like, but I know what that could do inside the gym. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, and I've seen other gyms had that happen to, and it's like, not saying it totally ruined it, but it definitely jeopardized it. It compromised it. That they did take some losses over it and stuff, and it got messy. And then me as a black belt instructor, I don't want anything like that attached to my name. Oh, no, what I mean? To jeopardize, because it's like I know great black belts, and I know people who've done a lot for the jiu-jitsu community, if you'd say, but then they still got that tarnish on theirs, and it's like, man, I just think you need to keep it polished.
Yeah, and I think that is incredibly important too. Is like because you were in a position of power, you do something and people notice it. People see it more than if you weren't in a position of power, and so you have to be really careful. And then on the other note, when it comes to the jiu-jitsu school or just martial arts schools, it's not crazy to think that if you were a predator, you would be willing to dedicate some time to be able to open a martial arts school, right? Because you would be like, this would be a way to be a predator. And be in a position
because I don't know any other.
That's the worst.
Well,
thing
here's the thing. Well, no, because it's like if you really think about it, it's like I don't know any other martial art where you could put 100% physicality into demonstrating that art or training that art, and where there's that much like body connection to one another. There's no other martial art like that. So it's like, and and that's why as an instructor, it's like you got to also kind of look out for that and kind of seek that, and kind of be like that. What is it, the sheepdog, of your students, and then kind of also protect that space for them, because you don't know what this student or that student's been through, or what they're coming to your academy, what they want out of it. You don't just have like your competitor or whatever. You might have somebody, who may have been in a traumatized situation. So you got to kind of like, navigate the water and make that space open for a lot of people to be welcomed into that space, and that's kind of what I want, from my academy. I want it to be welcome for everybody.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to just run like, I will have, competitors, but I want it to be for anybody who wants to give it a shot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've always heard the saying like, jiu-jitsu's for everybody. I wouldn't say jiu-jitsu is for everybody, but anybody can do jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if they want it, they can do it. And I just want that space. Yeah. Arias Bros Jiu-Jitsu, that can be the space for you. You know what I mean? And
yeah, there's a version of jiu-jitsu that's for everybody, right?
Yes.
Like you said originally, like we were just saying about the blue room, that wasn't for everybody.
No.
There's no way
I'm glad
you
I
could
got
have been
to
having
experience it,
other
though.
people come into that environment and it be for them.
I think we had such good guys, because it's like, dude, they didn't, and I don't even think a lot of people realized it was like, dude, because you weren't competing, it's like you were in there with the top guys that were like, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Even me, I was like, yeah, I'm a dad. Like, but when wasn't I a dad?
I didn't even have
a
a choice to compete, because I was like, I just want to come here just to train, and just honestly, be a clean, just get myself in shape, clear-minded, mental. Let me just do this for like a workout. But I'm like, this dude, like, that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to compete. And so, like, literally, like 5-6 months in,
you got forced into it.
I already competed. And then after that, I was like, shit, and I wanted that. I'm like,
You get
this
hooked
shit's
on
over
that,
with.
especially
in.
when you win.
I'm
You're
in.
like,
Dude,
you
you're
win,
done.
you're definitely hooked.
You're done. Dude, you win, it's over with. Like, here's the thing. If I could sit here and sell memberships to people, I'd sell them a membership with them already winning a tournament, because here's the thing.
It's a no better feeling.
They're neglecting their life after that.
Yeah.
They are.
That $6.82 gold medal,
Yep.
brother.
Hey, it's not
come
silver
on.
though,
And here's,
brother.
yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, too. That's not if you buy it wholesale, though. When you're a wholesaler, guess what? Try $3.52.
$3.52 for that gold medal, dude, and the feeling it is when
And
you're
that's
on
with
that
the factory already making it.
when you're
like
on that podium and you got gold and you did one match.
You guys are selling me.
Dude,
You know, there's no better
you
feeling.
could did a half a match. He got hurt. I won.
I am a man betrayed by the art that he loves. My name's Josh McKinney, and as most of you know, I've been cursed with the burden of fixing jiu-jitsu. With your help, we're going to heel hook the fake black belts, every single one of them. Those mat bullies that you're dealing with, we're going to pressure tap them. And Reddit BJJ, we're burning it to the ground unless they allow me to post my podcast episodes and quit deleting them. But I can't do this alone. Every like, every comment, every 5-star review, it fuels the mission, it powers the algorithm, and honestly, it keeps me from turning to the dark side and opening a karate school in a strip mall between a CBD store and Spencer's Gifts. So if you believe in better jiu-jitsu, review the podcast, do it for the future, do it for the children, but most importantly, do it so you never have to hear someone say "os" ever again. Erik, let me ask you this. You've been training for 6 years now. I hear people say the phrase like, jiu-jitsu changed my life or jiu-jitsu saved my life. But then I hear other people go, nah, that doesn't exist. That's not a real thing. Jiu-jitsu
they're
can't
lying.
do that. Tell me tell me your thoughts.
It had to, dude. Like literally, like even seeing you, like I was just telling you earlier before we started, like, you know, like I was still even smoking some weed, you know what I mean, when I first started doing jiu-jitsu. But I'm like, I can't do this the way I want to do it. So I made a choice. And I'm like, man, like, and I never not picked weed over the shorts. Like this was my thing through high school. Like I liked it better than high school. Like I liked it better than anything. And I was like, man, I was like, dude, when I was like, man, I dropped the weed and I quit doing everything that involved a weed to sit here and do jiu-jitsu. I was like, yeah, this is it right here, because I'm changing my habits around jiu-jitsu. That's how you know that it's affecting you. It's not because it didn't. Yes, it did. Because here's the thing: you're gonna stop doing the goofy shit, trying to end up in jail. You're gonna stop smoking weed because you want to be a better athlete. I could have did jiu-jitsu and still smoked weed, but do I feel like I'd be the best me doing it? No. So then I made the changes, like just to not do stuff, cut out bad food, just like you don't realize that you're change, you got to do what? Make choices. So you're making choices, and all these choices are changing. So yeah, it definitely changed you. You know what I mean? It changed my life crazy, like to the point to where like, man, I'm so disciplined. Like it's crazy.
And
like,
you've never been that way
and
before,
I'm
right?
not even talking about like food, because like I'll eat off food here and now and then. I'm talking about like life. Like you like I'm so disciplined, like it's nuts. You know what I mean? Like there's certain stuff that I won't even do just because of possibilities that could be there. Like, and so like I deflect all like the BS and everything, and I recognize it, and being through the BS, I recognize it even further away. So it's like I build a own platform, and then I protect the platform, and that's what I've been doing. And so pretty much I'm disciplined on that. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like it, I'm trying to think how to ask this. Do you feel like it changed quickly? Or I guess this, do you feel like it helped you know yourself better or differently?
Yeah, because it had me step out the box, and I guess like just not doing it. I've always been like in a, like I've built like a barrier, a shelter like area, to where I'd be in my comfort zone and only do the certain things like that. And to be honest, the only time I'd be out my comfort zone is if I went to jail. You know what I mean? Because obviously nobody's going to be just comfortable there. You know what I mean? And so, but then I go back to my comfort zone and do all that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, you know what I mean? Stay in the house, do whatever, you know what I mean? But like now, like, you know what I mean? I've traveled, I've competed on high platforms, did stuff with nerves to where I'm like, I don't even want to do this. And I still did it. And I don't know why I keep signing up for this shit that I don't want to do. You know what I mean? Like,
You'll swear it's your last.
no, like I'm not doing it
like 5
anymore.
minutes after you're
and
done.
here's the thing: after I'm done, I'm sitting here like, and don't let me lose. When's the next one? I'm looking up. Oh,
That's the worst
24
one.
days. I'm already
in.
prepped. Let me check my travel, see what I could get. Is Robert off that day? Can he drive me? And if he is, I'm gone. You know what I mean? And here's the thing: if it's in Texas, even greater. I get another excuse to go there. And so, like, yeah, it changed. It changed everything about me. I think the only thing it ain't changed is pretty much like my street swag that I bring to jiu-jitsu. Like the fact that I like dressing the way I dress, and you know what I mean, my mentality that I had from there, I just apply it in a positive way instead of a negative. You know what I mean? So like pretty much me, I'm still me, just in a positive way and not negative.
You're still
And-
you making different choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so like, dude, I don't see how it doesn't. Like, heck, I don't think I've seen not one person it hasn't changed. Because even the people that come in here and they don't do nothing different. Like, here's the thing: you're still in a gym consistently, which you wasn't doing before. You're dropping weight. These guys are coming in. They're like, man, I lost like 30, 40 pounds. You wasn't doing that. You could have went to your little club fitness or whatever and smile for the camera and, you know what I mean? I'm sitting here lifting weights for about 5 minutes, cardio tank on E, like, you know what I mean? But you wasn't really doing it the way jiu-jitsu did, because here's the thing: you can't hide nothing. You know what I mean? You had to lock in and be heads up and take L's
Those
when
mats
you
will
didn't
expose
want
you.
when you didn't want to. Like, I had no choice. I couldn't even be the tough guy. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I was getting smashed. Like, you know what I mean? And badly at that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and there's guys that I wreck. And dude, I'm not even at the tier compared to when you got a room full of guys that are black belts who've been doing this. And you know what I mean? I could probably hang a little bit now. And that's an award. And I'm actually just happy that I could still go to gyms, and even our gym, to where I could get, even if it's just one person room, small class, one person room that challenges me. Cool. I'm there, because guess what? If I can't get challenged, that's when I'm going to look for another gym. You know what I mean? But if I'm getting challenged every day, I'm getting beat up every day, I know I'm going to get better every day. Like Sal said it best. I think it was on the podcast where he's like, I'll go in the gym and I'll do good. And I'll be like, yeah, man, I beat some people down. He's like, and I'll hop in the shower and I'll be like, no, that wasn't it.
I'm sad.
You know what I mean? But you go to the one where it's like you did 10 rounds straight, you got scorched, and you didn't win a round because you was with the guys that compete on the best level or at the black belt level, and you did 6 black belt rounds and got murdered, and you're like this. Yeah. Because now when I go against people that are my level, it's like I'm comfortable. And my size and my age. Shit, I haven't even did that all year.
Put
So
you guys in the grandpa's division,
Yeah,
man.
dude, I haven't
That's
did
what
the
I'm waiting
grandpa
for.
division in like 2 years. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I think when I was blue belt, I did a couple blue belt tournaments, and the rest were purple and brown belt
I think the only
tournaments.
time I seen you compete in a division that was like at your age and weight was like when we did the Nashville.
No, it was Memphis. Dude, that
Oh,
was the
it was
last
Memphis,
one,
yeah.
2023.
Memphis, yeah.
After that, I was doing purple, brown, and black belt divisions. I was doing adult. I was doing heavier. Here's the thing, honestly, and I think that like my past 4 tournaments, 5 tournaments, heck, 6 tournaments, none of them were even my weight
No, because
brackets to begin with.
you had a good bracket.
I
when
think
we
it was
went out
like
to the.
I think it was like 85, 95, and then like 205, 207. And I was weighing like 55.
Dude, I remember we were in Texas last October, and you had a good bracket.
No, it was September.
September,
Yeah.
and we were going to the AJP, the Abu Dhabi Grand Slam in Texas, and Erik had a good bracket too. It was like this, dude. It was like a solid
I was like,
purple,
finally, purple belts.
every single purple
My
belt.
age, and it was still a little bit bigger. It was like 168. Yeah. But I'm like, it was still the 70s.
Within a 10-pound parameter, age was the same and everything. And literally every purple belt didn't show up.
They either missed weight, didn't show up.
It was like what,
it was
70?
all from Texas.
It was like 70. What was it? 70 kilos? 70. What'd you do?
Yeah, it was 70. 76,
and then they moved, and then they gave him a guy who was 92 kilos.
No, 94.
94 kilos.
And that guy
pounds.
was from Abu Dhabi, and so like he was actually the only
there, bro.
Look, he was the only person in that whole building, I think, that came further than me and Robert. Because even some of the guys that was in Robert's division, you know what I mean.
A lot of the black belts were kind of local. They're Texas gym based,
Texas gym, except for the few guys that was like out of Cali. They flew a little bit longer, but we drove from Illinois. So, which, dude, I don't know. Like, dude, I love driving. Dude, like, when I get my license, dude, just know that you guys are going to be like, damn, this dude, Erik, fucking made it.
He drove everywhere.
I'm driving everywhere.
He drove to California and back just to do it.
I don't hate driving. I mean, you
the
like, there are
Texas
definitely
drives
parts
are good.
of it that are fun.
The Texas drives are good because I like that way. It's good. When we drove to the East Coast trials, that one was it was a little bit further. It was like 13 and a half, 14, but you went through like 5 different like cities, like states.
Yeah, it does. It didn't take you through some like rural same stuff.
Like
so it broke it up
cool.
a bit.
If you was breaking it up and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna take a couple days to get there, you could have easily, like, you went through Indianapolis, Ohio, you know what I mean? You went through Pittsburgh. We even went through Philly, and you know what I mean? So like, even to get to Atlantic City, then you get to Atlantic City and you're like, oh, you're in Atlantic City, like. And so it was cool,
dude,
man. I liked it, dude. Like,
yeah, that Atlantic City, there wasn't a bar there that didn't get a drink served in an Arias Bros koozie.
Dude, this dude's putting the koozie on straight bottleneck bottles. Like, he's sitting here like,
that was one of those.
On a glass bottle.
They said, hey, you know, they're normally $1, but we'll give them to you for 50 cents if you buy 1,000. And Robert goes, give me 1,000, brother. I'm in.
Dude, we was at the Hard Rock.
It was one of those.
And this dude had 12 of them. All of a sudden, I'm like, this, man, we kind of been here for a little minute. And I'm like, I'm not even realizing it. And he has like 4 or 5 beer bottles lined up. I'm like, hold on a minute. The lady's been coming here picking them up. This dude done drank like 11 or 12 of them. And mind you, this is after we competed. So, after the weigh-ins, I didn't eat. You know what I mean? The drive, dude, we got there the day before weigh-ins. So we still had to drive that day. So we drive. I'm fasting. I hop on the scale like light, like I'm like 152. Dude, I'm like, we got to get something to eat. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we do that the next day. I'm like, I'm trying to warm up. You know what I mean? It's been a while since I competed. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right.
It was a crazy
Let me try warm up. I'm warming up. They said I was going to go at 2. They said I was going to go at 3. They said I was going to go at 4. Dude, it was like 5:30, almost 6 whenever I went. So finally, after warming up, cooling down once, bam, do my match. Dude, then I had another match. The dude pulled, I guess he pulled out or whatever, something like that. And so then it got prolonged even longer. I think my last match was like 6:45, 7 o'clock. But mind you, I've been warming up since like 2. And I'm like, man, at that point, I'm like, look, man.
You weigh 130 now at
Dude,
this point.
I was probably touching like 148 though.
Oof. Those are the tournaments where you feel
crazy,
the lightest too. Dude, because like your body's just been through that stress wreck of just all day.
I'm going to tell you how it felt, dude. It felt like my bones were hollow.
Yeah.
like that's the best way to explain.
Yeah, I know exactly the feeling.
And I was like, this dude at this point,
your bone
man,
density got like you did submerge in some.
I should have just went down to like pretty much the next weight class, you know what I mean? But I'm glad I did it the way I did it, how I did it, because I went through all the ringers to do it to where now I just got a better prep on even warming up. Just stretching more to even before I warm up. Like you just learn, you get a little bit more seasoned, and then you're like, oh, once you did the biggest, because like, I mean, you're seeing Cody Steele and them throw people through tables and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? This right here,
dude,
is what I want.
That was crazy. They went so
I'm like,
far
forget
off
everything else. I was like, dude, these are the tournaments I want to do. And like, I'm kind of glad most started doing opens and stuff like that for people like me who ain't black belts and they're in their 20s trying to compete with the best guys trying to do the ADCCs, but yet I could still do an ADCC tournament at 35 and do what I do. And
I
so
know they
like,
added a bunch of different age
brackets
divisions. Yeah,
now,
they
like,
just started.
They're kind of doing it like
Vegas and-
IBJJF, and so like it's cool, you know what I mean? And like
yeah, they added Master
So in the
1, 2, 3,
45-year-old
4, 5.
division, are you going to be able to throw
Masters
people
3.
into tables still?
I think you still
you
got.
could,
Because
it still goes off the mat.
It's a wild rule to be like, hey, we're going to let you just grapple on concrete instead of us just buying more mats. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be weird if you came to my gym
but you
and
know
you were
what?
like, Josh, we're packed up, bro. We need more mat space. And I'm like, nah, just roll on the concrete over there, bro.
Keep the door.
What are you
keep
talking
the
about?
door,
More
keep
mat
the door
space?
open.
The
keep
world
the door open.
is
They
your
can go
mat
into the
space.
Keep the door open. They can
But
go into the
even
parking
then,
lot.
Yes.
even then at the IBJJF, when I just kept on trying to wrestle with the dude, like there wasn't enough mats.
That's what I'm saying. Give me
Ever.
more mat
But-
space.
But here's the
I
thing,
need
it doesn't
more
matter
square,
because,
bro.
because there's not an angle. They do that because it's an angle. Because then you'll roll. You could still continue to do it, but there'll be a point to where after it hits the ground, you roll. They're like, all right, stop. If there's more mats, there's never an angle. They'll be going out the door, the swinging doors into the warm up hallways because. Like, if you'd have gave me more mats, here's the thing, it would have just never end. I think we would have just been collar tying each other until we got to the doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here's my thing is there needs to be, in general, a better out of bounds. Because, like, you look back to ADCC super fight between Andre Goval and Felipe Pena. When Andre Goval tackled him into the table, you could literally see his ribs getting red from the mark of the table that he just got
Dude,
tackled.
that was one where I was like, okay,
into, right?
this is like ADCC mixed with like WWE.
Right? And so that is...
But I kind of liked it. I just didn't want the shit happening to me. I'm skinny.
That is like, to me, an obvious reason to where you don't want that deciding a match. And so you go, there has to be some parameter to out of bounds. But I definitely get I can just step out of bounds while you're trying to finish this single leg. And then we have to restart standing because we're not going to recreate the position. I just think that there needs to be a better warning area. So basically, like, and there is for IBJJF, but it's not understood very well, and I don't think they do a very good
like
job.
the bordering or whatever.
There is a border, and it's like if both competitors are out, it is immediate stop. But you can let a position unfold if just one competitor is out, right? But it's also like it would be nicer if there was like there was just more layers to it that we all understood. It made it easier to know. Or the easiest solving of this problem is do the CJI thing, and there is no border. There's just a new angle.
Because you
know?
run right into it and you got to play right off.
And obviously, that's harder to do. That would be much harder to do with tournaments. But I love the
Like the AGF, they did the
was
bowl.
it were they
in New Orleans for the
they
Nogi
did the
Nationals.
Nogi Nationals.
I'm like,
They
this dude,
did
I
it
would love,
in like a pit
I would
bowl.
love to do
Yeah.
the bowl. And I even looked on Smooth Comp trying to find some that do the bowl. And there is this one, I think it was Pit something. Not Pit
is
Boss.
it Karate Combat?
No, it's Pit Boss. It's for Jiu-Jitsu. And it was
It's probably like a lower level.
they do it in Colorado, and I seen some, and I'm like, but I couldn't understand the way to sign up or the age brackets were like their stuff was like really weird. You know what I mean? How to do it, but like I wouldn't mind doing one where even if you got into a little bowl or whatever and do that because me like I'm the type I'd utilize it like you know what I mean? I think it'd be fun.
I think it could hurt your game, but also you could utilize
that,
it.
or
depending on what you're
even just
doing.
do like
It'd be really cool.
like a mat where you come up and then you just have a wall on each side or something. You know what I mean? It ain't got to be a 360 bowl. It could be like north south has
more
the wall,
like
and then
more
the other
like
sides are open.
Van Damme Kumite style.
Yeah, like
yeah.
and then like you know just something like that. But here's the thing: I know we're gonna get there because here's the thing. For one, gyms are starting to do it. So in the gyms, comps are gonna do it. And here's the thing: I know I'm gonna do it for mine. Even if I don't do it right away, I'm gonna try to do it right away though. I'm gonna get some of the carpenter buddies in there and you know what I mean, and get that done.
It makes if you had any intention of ever filming anything like competitive at your gym, it would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna do it 360. I was thinking like maybe do corner and corner like that.
I
to where-
want 360, Eric.
No,
I
because look,
want the mat space. I want people to feel as though only one survives.
Like almost
when
like
they
how-
go.
almost
like
like
you talking
how,
about like a bowl, like going into a bowl.
I'm talking about a bowl, bro.
Well, you know,
I know
the
what
thing
you're,
is,
talking, you're talking
where-
about, like how the old school MMA gyms used to be, where it's like we don't have a cage, but we got like
just-
a border to
and
use.
so you can do
so you can
cage
still
work.
do stuff.
I get that,
you know?
and I get that it's more logical and it makes sense space wise. But I'm just saying, if I'm gonna have 2 slanted corners, might as well have 4. I want the bowl, because imagine if I was gonna have the Arias Bros fighting each other in the main event of a local jiu-jitsu super fight show, you wouldn't need that much mat space. You would just need those walls to keep that
'Cause
match
it
even.
keep it
the
contained.
thing is,
They'd have no
where,
choice but to keep
like
it contained.
even if I had it on all sides of the wall, I would still have to leave the one where you enter open. But like I'm saying, like if I have this one, and then this one,
mean, on
like,
the-
you know what I mean?
Listen, if you're
that's
not
how I'm-
athletic enough to enter, then you can't do jujitsu there. Jujitsu's not for everybody. It's their first
it's
test.
cutting
You
the
got to be able to
finances.
can you slide into the pit and get out.
You open
know?
the door to the gym, and then you gotta like dive over the thing and roll into the pit. And
like
like,
that.
I'm here to
Or
try
open
to
like a
learn
door tip or
jujitsu.
something.
Yep.
It's like, but I got to do this one parkour move to get into the gym to even sign up for
Yep,
jujitsu.
that's the test. That's our white belt test.
That's how you earn your white belt.
All right, guys. Let me ask you this. Anything you guys, we've been talking for a while. Anything you guys want to say to finish? Any thoughts you have? I know I told you guys to bring some topics, and then we just talked about all kinds of random stuff.
It was kind of we touched a few of the
Yeah.
topics because you brought them up.
I don't
we
think
brought
there was
some up.
nothing else that I wanted to talk about. I don't think I touched on that. I mean, no. I mean, other than the fact that I seen Moretto yesterday on the UFC BJJ and cornering him was Vitor Oliveira, and I was like, man, I haven't seen that guy since he won my division last year in Chicago, and I think besides that in Masters Worlds, I haven't been able to see anything that he signed up for that's been within the parameters of me trying to maybe go against him. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, if you hear this, sign up, man.
Nah, but if you're in my division and you're tough, don't sign up.
Don't say.
Let me run, bro.
I mean, hey,
just
look,
give me accolades.
You're
Let
at-
me cook. I don't need to beat.
You're in
anyone
you're in
specific.
Columbus, Ohio. I mean, we got the St. Louis Open in September. I mean,
Nah, I don't think so. I don't sign up for Master 1 or adult, depending on what division
you
I
can
do.
do Masters too.
No,
so-
I'm saying do your division.
yeah, do
just not mine.
just not.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying
we'll
it would
see.
be
We'll
cool
see.
if
I
I
plan
just
on-
could show up and get
I
points.
plan on doing St. Louis. We'll see. Like, depending on what I sign up for, is like honestly, I'll look at the divisions. Like, if there's people and whatnot. If there's anybody in Masters 2, I'll do that. Masters 1, whatever. I mean,
I'm
gonna play it by
literally
ear.
playing the opposite game of where is no one. That is where
You're gonna
I will go. That is the gap
sign
that
up
I
for
will
adult.
fill. How
There's
can
nobody
I?
in adult.
Yeah, how can I dodge any match possible?
Well-
Because it's just about the Instagram post at this point.
It's about
the
that.
Instagram post gets more people to listen to the podcast, whether or not I had
Right, it's
any
a
matches.
sales pitch,
yeah,
dude.
it's just people are like,
He
oh,
quad
this,
golded.
yeah, oh, he got gold. They're not going to look up, oh, he didn't have any matches.
Yeah.
He signed up for the children's division and lied about his
27,
age.
27
you know?
IBJJF gold
The
medals
teen
and
yellow,
4
the teen
matches
yellow
fought.
belt.
Yeah, nothing makes Bryce angrier than when people will sign up for a division, get a gold medal, and then post it and just be like, gold medal at
Yeah.
the IBJJF.
You know
Open.
what's even impressive? I think if somebody had like like I just said, it's like, wouldn't that be? I mean, that's got to be a skill. That's impressive. Being like, yeah, I got 27 IBJJF gold medals and only had to do like 5 matches.
But
That's crazy.
go ahead, Bryce.
I won't say any specific names. And honestly, it could be every single one of them. But there is a certain individual that I know works for the IBJJF very regularly.
So then why are you going to bash him publicly?
said yes,
So where he screws
yes.
me over, Bryce? No, go ahead. Never mind. I hate the guy.
No, I'm not saying who it is.
Oh.
But I've literally seen him post first place pictures over 10 times and not fight a single match
Yeah,
at that
gangster,
tournament.
Because
bro.
he works there, so
That's
he's been at
gangster.
32 opens in 6 months.
And
But
it
I'll
cost
tell you
him a
this.
dime.
I'll tell you this. I bet he's number 1 in whatever division he's in. You know,
Yeah, he's
I bet
And he's getting all the buys.
I bet he's got a higher IBJJF ranking than any of us losers who were like, I just want to have a
I
tough
haven't did
match.
IBJJF in
Just
2
give me
years.
tough guys, bro.
Here's how I look
I
at
don't
it.
want tough guys anymore.
Yeah,
Give me the easiest.
You know,
matches.
like I saw somebody post, which I won't agree with all of it. They're like, I think, you know, the leading up to get like a Masters Worlds black belt medal is a lot harder to achieve than black belt adult worlds. I won't agree. I think the black belt adult worlds obviously is tougher, but I think to navigate as like what you might have to overcome, like it's like, cause you're let's say you're Masters 2 or whatever, Masters 3 or whatever, you've kids, businesses, grandkids, whatever. Like you got you probably at
Especially
least
the
got
Masters one,
You
though.
definitely probably got a wife. You're not single, you know. So you got a lot of these obligations that you have to do. So it's like in order to I think whether you got the same drive as the 18-year-old over here, it's the like, hey, I could just if I got the money, if you gave me $1,000, said here you go out there, do what you got to do, book your tournament and win. I would still have to be like, all right, wait, hold on. What do I got going on? This 18-year-old, I booked a ticket. I'm leaving. I have nobody to care
He's
about.
gonna
I don't
stay
give a
there,
crap.
do the training camp there.
But you know,
train
there's
3 times a day.
there's not a thing to go, you know, do that. So it's like, you know, even like Bryce said, the guy works at. It's like, okay, so he did 32 opens. He's ranked number 1. Let's say whatever. How much money did he even have to come at him?
None.
You know, it's
How
like,
much
dude,
did Mark Vives had to come out?
Holy smokes. Holy smokes. That guy should have just invested that money in ownership stock of IBJJF.
he
I
probably
feel like he should be a
smokes.
sponsor.
I think if he's,
Yeah.
I
Like,
think
they
if there
should
was,
sponsor him.
they should sell out
He-
some stock because
so
I
if
think
you guys
he
are
definitely
listening
have
to
a
this,
stake
sponsor
in it.
him.
He has it all added up. He was just on the show. I should have asked him to go over. Next time he's on the show, I'll ask him
I
to
know
go
they
over those
released not
numbers.
too long ago, like the top 10 guys who were like who spent the most money,
And he was 3, wasn't he?
He was in there. I
know
don't
he's
remember
up
what
there.
it was, but a lot of the guys obviously they added a dollar amount. Some of the guys worked for the event, so they didn't actually have to come out.
I think he was like number 7 or 8 total. But then here's the thing: 6 of the guys were like from Brazil.
they
and
worked for it. So
So
it's
it
like-
was like him and another guy.
you know, he
Yeah,
actually
that's
had to come
wild.
out.
Who
with the
actually
total
came out of
amount.
pocket? It was probably just him and that other
Holy
guy.
smokes.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Like at that point, it's like he's like 1 or 2.
Sounds exhausting.
I'm just trying to get head nod in the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show to just come out of all the money for my next competition.
So am I, bro. I'm in the same boat. I'm just trying to get a head nod and I suck at Jiu-Jitsu show to be able to pay for my next competition.
when I get
competed once this year. We drove to Indianapolis and split an Airbnb. Me, Bryce, and Kyle Watson.
It's
bro.
almost a year. It's almost a year, and I'm trying to get out there. Maybe I'll get the Arias Bros gym going so good that my business partner ends up sponsoring all mine.
Perfect. Yeah. I'm hoping that your business partner sponsors me too. All right, dudes. Thank you guys for being on the show. It's always a blast having you guys and getting to chat.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate it.